It's your boy Amreezy, and I'm back with another Road to Sorare Boss episode where we follow my journey in the wonderful world of Sorare. If you're new around here, get comfortable. This is how we like to do it. We like to get comfortable. We like to make a cup of tea. If you've not got your cup of tea because you're new, you don't quite know how it works, I understand. Go make the cup of tea now. Pause the video. And while the video's paused, if you can give me a like and a subscribe, it helps me massively because I'm still fairly new at this. The channel's growing nicely, but I do rely on those likes and subscribes. So if you can do that, that'd be really appreciated. Unpause the video. You've got your cup of tea now. Let's talk Sorare. So the Euros are starting tomorrow. That's pretty exciting in terms of just general football fan. Euro 2024 starts tomorrow, hence the England shirt. Come on, England. In terms of Sorare Pro, I'm not too excited about that. I know that there's a lot of cash to be won if you are taking that seriously, so good luck if you're doing that. And if you've been seeing my videos lately, you'll know I don't really have the goalkeepers for that. I don't really have enough of a squad depth for the Euros. I've got a few players who are at the Euros, so I will be putting some lineups, but kind of more punty lineups in the capped leagues where I kind of go for a goalkeeper who's not playing and then four cards that I think all could smash. And then maybe we pick up a few prizes here and there, maybe. We'll see. But I'm mainly looking forward to the rivals mode this Euros. We've got Copa America coming up as well, which is very exciting for me as a kind of fan of Mexican football. Mexico are in Copa America, so I'm looking forward to watching that. So it's an exciting time for football. For Sorare, for me, mainly what I'm most excited about, though, is buying cards for August. And since last week, I think I've bought the most amount of cards I've bought in a 1 week period. So I'll show you later which cards I bought. There's some exciting ones for me. I'll talk through my thinking behind all of that, and we'll get into all of that. So let's start off this week's video by looking at how I did last week, where there was a set of international friendlies. And let's see how that all went down. Right then, here we go. This is how I did last weekend in June the 7th to the 11th. There was even less to report on midweek, so nothing to get excited about midweek. Last weekend, I kind of put a few lineups out. Again, it was even harder to predict with the international friendlies. I think with the Euros, at least we'll know kind of who's playing, who should be starting. With the friendlies, I've been seeing this everywhere within the Sorare community. It's just been really hard to predict who's going to play, and we've had some really interesting people winning podium prizes. So I was rolling the dice, hoping that I could get lucky. Unfortunately, no prizes last week. In the under 23s, nothing really to report about. João Felix kind of did okay for Portugal. Maybe a good sign, but I don't think he'll be starting for them in the Euros. So nothing here. Mainly building up experience, really. And then the three capped lineups that I put out were, so we've started taking the cap 220 as the most serious capped league now, because if I'm going to be putting a DMP goalkeeper, the only way I'm going to win something and some kind of prize is if I go for the 220 with my biggest guys and their L15s all take 220, and that way the goalkeeper is not a DMP, so it kind of makes the other guys more valuable. And I'm hoping that everyone else in that league is playing 5 cards that are all sharing the L15s. So maybe that gives me an advantage. But to be honest, I'm mainly just putting out what I can, seeing if anything happens. And then I will need to get really lucky to win anything during this Euros period. So Andy Robertson has been a great card for the Euros. He's been doing really well in the friendlies, getting big scores. Let's see if that continues. Scotland's first game is Germany, so that will be hard. I don't know if we'll expect much from Robertson in the first game, but in the friendlies, he's good. And maybe in the other Euros games when Scotland have slightly easier fixtures, maybe Robertson is a good card to have. John Duran, who I bought recently he plays for Aston Villa, but there's a lot of rumours he's going to be going to Chelsea. So that was one of the reasons why I bought him. But also I bought him because he fits my under 23 profile, which I'm kind of want to take a bit more seriously. And if he goes to Chelsea, it's an added bonus. So he did okay for Colombia. Oh, he didn't really do okay. He didn't do great for Colombia. He has been making a few appearances for them lately, for Colombia in the friendlies. He did score a nice goal recently, so I'm kind of hoping his stock is growing, his profile is growing, and that he's going to start a few more games for Colombia in the coming weeks. Daniel Munoz also is a player who's been doing really well for Crystal Palace, attacking for Palace, attacking for his country as well, a really attacking defender. So a 49 from him, not bad. And then Conor Gallagher didn't play in England's disappointing defeat against Iceland. We still don't really know who Southgate is going to play in the midfield for England alongside Declan Rice. Will it be Bellingham in a deeper role? Will it be Mino? Will it be Gallagher? I don't know. Gallagher is the only one I have. I don't have Mino. I don't have Bellingham. So I'll be playing Gallagher in a few weeks this in the Euros for England, hoping he gets a game, hoping he starts one of the games. And when he does, hope he does well. So that's how the 220 did, 175 points. The 240, nothing to report about here. João Palhinha is a good card as well for the Euros, I think. I think if I line up my cards, Robertson, Palhinha, I do have some good cards here. I just don't have the goalkeeper. So Palhinha seems to be playing for Portugal. It seems to be that he will start in the centre of midfield for Portugal. So if he does and Portugal have good fixtures, he's a nice card to have. And then there was the Mexico-Brazil game, which I watched. Very entertaining game. It was 2-2. Mexico equalised in injury time right at the end, and we thought, great. 2-2, Mexico have saved the draw, and then Endrick, right at the end, nicks the winner for Brazil. They win 3-2. So exciting game. Not much to report about in terms of Santiago Jimenez. He did start for Mexico. He is the main man for Mexico up front. So I'm delighted I bought that card a few weeks ago. Again, another player with a lot of rumours of moving. It seems like Liverpool seem to be the strongest club that he's rumoured with because he's worked with the new manager before. So let's see what happens there. In terms of the Copa America, he should be playing all of Mexico's games, so I'm excited about him. And then João Gomez isn't a starter for Brazil, but I kind of played him thinking maybe it's a friendly, maybe he gets a bit more game time and can do something. That was my reasoning. Did it pay off? No. And then the 270 was the best score. So mainly because of Kovacic. Doing well for Croatia. So again, he's another player who I don't usually play, but in the Euros, he should be playing for Croatia every game. He's kind of a key guy in their midfield, especially when they have easier fixtures. They beat Portugal away. So that's a kind of promising sign that this Croatia team maybe are going to be a force. Maybe they're going a bit under the radar. So hopefully Kovacic is key to any success Croatia has. He could be a good card for me. Pedro Neto, I think, will be a super sub for Portugal. I think he won't be starting games, but if Portugal need a goal, he's a great player to bring off the bench with his pace against the tiring defense. I think with this Euros, it's been a long season for a lot of these players, and substitutes may be vital. Substitute cards, if you've got someone like Pedro Neto and he doesn't start, I think you can still play him, start him with some kind of confidence that maybe he gets games in the easier games, like say the last group game if Portugal have already qualified, or coming off the bench against the tired defense, Pedro Neto could be a good card. So didn't quite pay off for me. I thought he might get a few more minutes in the friendly as well, but didn't pay off. Quad there for Argentina, not a great score. And then this boy, Piero Quispe. I have him because as a fan of the Liga MX, I know that I've seen him a few times and he's a really exciting young player. So he's good for the under-23 league. He's good for when they've got a good fixture in the league. A great card. I really like him. He plays for Peru. He plays for the Peru national team, very young. So with Copa America coming up, this boy could be a card. Could be a sort of card that not many people know about. Maybe, a 70 score in a 0-0 draw is quite good. So when they've got good fixtures, I'm going to be really going for this guy. Captaining him like I did this week, hoping that not many people know about him because I know about him from my Liga MX knowledge. I'm kind of hoping not many other people know about him. So I put him in there and he did good, 70 points. So that's how the 270 did. Then there are some academy lineups, which we're building the XP. We're mainly getting excited for the Premier League's resumption and the European resumption in August, but we're having fun with the Euros where we can. So that's how I did in terms of Sorare Pro. Let's now take a look at what's really exciting me, which is signing cards for next season. So let's take a look at the new cards that I've bought. I believe last week, the last card that I had bought was John Duran, who I did mention I bought for the under-23 league as a striker. I have had a lot of problems with strikers at the under-23 league, so I'm hoping John Duran can kind of fix that. And also he's an option in the Premier League and champion if he's in the first team, which he did get in the Villa first team towards the end of the season. He's now got a lot of hype. If he moves and becomes the starting striker somewhere else, could be a great card. So he's the last card that I bought that I showed you last week. Since then, I've added a Necaxa card to my Necaxa collection because, again, he plays for Necaxa. He gets games here and there. He's not really one for the international scene, but he is helping me with my Necaxa collection, and he's very cheap. I bought him for as cheap as you can get, 30p in the auction. And because I'm the first time owner of him, it helps with my collection bonus. So I'm delighted. And then 2 Premier League goalkeepers for next season. Areola at West Ham and Ramsdale. I got them both for £15, which I think is kind of good because I've seen them around the market, especially Ramsdale at £20. And Areola was around about the £20 mark when I got him for 15. His price has kind of dropped recently, and you can get him for second hand now at around about 15, which I got him for. So 2 Premier League goalkeepers. Areola helps with my West Ham stack. So I'm really banking on West Ham to have a good season next season. I'm going to have a classic stack of West Ham season cards next season with Areola. So far, it's Areola, Zuma, Ward-Prowse, Bowen. They're the 4 cards that I have. And I've also added Kudos to that. So that will be my 5 West Ham cards. The only doubt in that now is with the new manager who he plays. I don't see him dropping Bowen. I don't see him dropping Kudos. I don't see him dropping Ward-Prowse. He should play Ward-Prowse. Kurt Zuma is the kind of unknown card for me, but I bought Kurt Zuma for very cheap. I bought Zuma for 50p. So if Zuma doesn't work out and he isn't first team, maybe he gets games in the Cups. Maybe he leaves and he could get first team football elsewhere, or he starts for West Ham and is a very cheap card that I picked up. So that's my West Ham stack now complete. That's my 5 cards of West Ham complete. I don't think I'm going to be going crazy with the depth at West Ham. I think if one of them gets injured or doesn't play, I'll just bring in one of my other Premier League players. And Aaron Ramsdale, I suppose, is a little bit of a risk because he has been on the bench at Arsenal all season. But I think he's too good to have another season on the bench. So either Arteta decides he's now the number 1 goalkeeper and drops Raya. Unlikely. I think what's more likely is Ramsdale moves. And then if he does move, I hope he moves to a team that he's getting first team football. As long as he's in the Premier League or a Champion League, I'm happy with this card, this purchase. If he goes to Contender or Challenger somehow, I'm not quite sure. Maybe he could get a loan move to the Championship. I doubt it. I think the most likely outcome is he moves to another Premier League team. And then if he does, I've taken the gamble at £15. If he does get a move, I think his price will go up, possibly £25, £30. Maybe there'll be a lot of hype around him. He is also in the England squad for the Euros. So, I mean, this is a goalkeeper that's good enough to get in the England squad for the Euros. Yeah, he's not the starting goalkeeper. That'll be Pickford. But he's good enough to be in the top 3 goalkeepers within the England squad. So he's got pedigree, should be moving. With that in mind, they've taken the gamble that he will be a Premier League or champion goalkeeper next season. So let's just see where he goes. The other 3 cards are Dwight McNeil, who I traded for £4.68. I think that's fairly good. I've seen him around about the £6 mark recently, so to get him at £4.68 was a nice bit of business. I have struggled with forwards massively. Forwards so far have been a big problem for me. So a lot of the cards I've been buying have been forward cards to kind of cover my bases because I didn't have any good forward cards in the Champion or Premier League region last season. I was gambling that Raheem Sterling at one point was an okay forward card. Taiwo Awoniyi at Nottingham Forest was my other okay forward card that he got injured, wasn't playing. So I've been building up my forward cards. I've got McNeil, I've got Bowen, I've got Duran, I've got... I think those are the Premier League forward cards I bought. I've got these forward cards in Mexico and Callum Wilson, João Felix. So I've been picking up forward cards from around the place. Kudos was a guy that I got in the auction for £17. I think he's a really exciting player. Young, exciting. I don't see him staying at West Ham for many more years. I think he's going to get a big move in the future. I think he's got one more year maybe at West Ham, impressing everybody, and then he gets his big move maybe. So I'm going to enjoy him with my West Ham stack while I can. And yeah, he also will be an under-23 player next season. He has one more season of use in the under-23 league. So that's a key card. So when I want to really go for the under-23 league one week, I could move him from the Premier League to the under-23 league, and there's not going to be many better players in the under-23 league. When West Ham have a good fixture, he's going to be really good. I mean, look at how he ended the season. Look at these scores. These are great scores. 65, 71, 61, 68, 83, 60. And that's him still getting settled. Now that he's properly settled in the Premier League, I'm expecting big things from Kudos next season. And the third card that I bought was a player recommended in the chat from last week's video. There was, I think it was, I've forgotten the name. I do apologize, but you recommended 3 players in the comments of last week's video. I looked at all 3, and to be honest, they're all good recommendations, really good recommendations for cheap players. I'm monitoring all 3 of them. The other 2 you recommended aren't really at a good price right now. I mean, they're cheap, but I'm kind of waiting to see if they drop really low in this off-season break. But this guy I got in the auction, 55p, which was very good. If you look at him in the second-hand market now, he's kind of going for double that. So I got him in the auction. I think not many people are aware of him. He's in the Spanish second division. And putting up good scores here. Good scores. And 20 years old. So someone for the under-23 league. I'm not sure where I'm going to play him yet. I've got a few options. He could be playing for his club, or I could play him in the under-23 league. I'm going to keep a close eye on him, but his scores are really good. L15 developing nicely. And at 20 years old and the price, I think that's a really nice gamble. So those are the cards that I bought since last week. Some exciting cards, 2 goalkeepers. I now think I need 1 more goalkeeper for the Premier League next season, and that will be ideally whoever the Chelsea goalkeeper is. We still don't know whether it's going to be Sanchez, whether it's going to be Petrovic, or whether Chelsea are going to sign a goalkeeper like Trafford. So whoever it seems to be, I'm going to have to probably wait till pre-season. We're going to have to wait till after the Euros when everyone returns back from to the clubs. And then we'll see what the new manager's saying. If there's any hints about who the Chelsea goalkeeper is, that'll probably be my Chelsea goalkeeper card. Maybe I get another striker. I think maybe I need 1 more striker in the Premier League or Champion region. And then maybe 1 more Mexican goalkeeper in Liga MX. Ideally, I want the America goalkeeper, Malagon, because there's very few cards of him on the market. Because America don't have cards within the market. So there's only a few Malagon cards from his time at Necaxa. So they're not making any more Malagon cards. There's no in-season cards. He's going for about £23. I'm kind of waiting to see if that can go down. But as you can see, we only have his cards from when he was at Necaxa. So he could be the Mexican #1 goalkeeper. I don't know if he will be the Mexican #1 goalkeeper. He didn't play in the last game. That's kind of putting me off. One of the things that was kind of making me think maybe I should go for him now is that if he's the Mexico #1, I can play him in Copa America, and then I've got a goalkeeper within this international period playing, and then he's going to be a really good goalkeeper in the Liga next season with America. So, but he didn't play in the last game. The Mexican goalkeeper position is up for grabs with Ochoa finally not being in the Mexico national squad for the first time in forever. So we'll see who that is. If it's not Malagon, I think I'm going to wait a few weeks to get him, see if that price can go a bit lower. Yeah, so those are the cards I'm thinking about buying for the future weeks. I'll keep you informed on the channel about which cards I buy. Let's finish off this week's video now by looking at what lineups I'm able to put together for the weekend coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we go. These are my lineups for the weekend coming up, which will be June the 14th to the 19th. It's the start of the European Championship, as it's called on Sorare. But as me and you call it, Euro 2024. So, lineups I'm going to be going for most seriously will be the capped leagues. And this is what I'm thinking. I did say cap 220. That's kind of what I'm going to be going for. So, DMP goalkeeper, which means I get to keep my L15 spread out between 4 cards instead of 5, hoping that gives me some kind of advantage. If they all pay off, I get to win big. If they don't, I'm not gonna get anywhere near a prize. The only way I'm getting any prizes from any of these cap leagues is if all 4 players in the same lineup go big. So I'm going to be going for Daniel Munoz, very attacking defender. They've got a nice fixture, hoping he does well. I'm going to be going for Quispe, the guy from Peru that I told you about. I think he'll be playing. So he's a little bit of a gamble, but when he plays, he's kind of a key player, a creative player for Peru. Peru don't exactly have a lot of world-class options, so he kind of doesn't have that much competition, so he should get a game. They've got a really nice fixture. Hoping it works out. El Salvador is a very easy game for them, so let's see what happens. Then I'm going to be captaining Fabian Schär, who will be in the Euros. And while it's not as easy as a fixture, I think, as possibly these two, I think because it's a big game and possibly the teams, Switzerland should be doing well in that game against Hungary. They should be doing well. I think I'd have them as favourites to win, but it'll be close. It has the feeling of one of those Euro games that might not be the most fun game to watch. Could be one of those games where maybe some of the people who aren't as into football don't watch that game. Could be a 0-0, could be a very close game. But if it's a 0-0 in a close game and he wins a lot of tackles, that's what I want. I want a boring game in this game. I want a 0-0. I want Fabian Schär to do that. Maybe they nick a 1-0 and he scores from a corner. That's the dream. If that happens, he's captain. And then I'm going to be using a card that I just don't think many people will have. And it's a gamble because it's Albania v Italy. But Broja plays for Albania. I signed him mainly to help with my Chelsea collection and a gamble. I signed him like a month ago. I signed him to help with my Chelsea collection and as a gamble to say he might move in the summer. And if he moves, maybe he gets a good move. He didn't have a good move this summer for Fulham. He was on the bench all the time. Didn't work out for him. So I'm hoping he gets a better move next season and I can play him. But in the meantime, I'm going to be playing him now, building up his XP, building up his level bonuses. And I just think, Albania will be the underdogs in this game. But how many times have we seen a big team, a favorite like Italy, first game of the Euros, a little bit complacent maybe. Albania, Broja will be the main guy up front for them. Maybe desperate to impress because also the Euros is a great time for these kind of players like Broja. They're playing for the scouts. If Broja has a good Euros, he's going to get a much better move next season than if he has a disappointing Euros. So there's a lot for him to play for. So I'm hoping with that fire in his belly, maybe he nicks a goal against Italy, maybe, and he does well. So, and also his L15 was really low. So these guys had much bigger L15 scores. So he enables them in the Cap 220 league. So that's who I'm lining up in the Cap 220 league. In the Cap 240, I'm taking this one the least seriously out of capped leagues. I'm playing these two players from LAFC because MLS is still happening. So LAFC are my only represented team in the MLS. I have two players from LAFC, which are Campos and Atuesta. They're doing okay, LAFC. They're fairly close to the top of the table. They've just signed Olivier Giroud. They've got Lloris in goal. They've got a good squad. And these two guys getting in the first team. Both of them, I won this guy as a reward. And this guy is mainly signed to help with my Santos collection. And he's a very good, young, promising Mexican defender. So I'm kind of hoping he is one day the starting Mexican left back as well. But for now, he's playing for LAFC. So I'm going to captain him against Orlando in a game which they should win. He's a very attacking defender, hoping he can keep a clean sheet and get maybe an attacking return. He's been putting up some good scores lately. If we look at Omar Campos. He's been putting up good scores. You're going to have to trust me on that one. Yeah, let's have a look at his scores. So, as with all kind of MLS players, it does seem hit and miss. But his last 3 games, he's got a 68. A bad game here. Did he start? He only played 19 minutes in that game. But then he got a 60 the week before. So I'm hoping this little reset fund. So this was when he joined LAFC. And he wasn't in the team straight away. Took him a while to get going, but he's now in the team, and I'm kind of seeing some kind of upward trend here. This is a little bit of an upward trend. So I'm kind of hoping it keeps going. Like I said, this team is the least one I'm confident about. João Felix, I don't think is going to start, but like I said earlier, maybe comes off the bench in tired legs. I think substitute's going to be key in these Euros. So maybe he can be one of those key substitutes. Enzo Fernandez has been injured for a while, but he did come off the bench last week for Argentina. So they've got a good fixture. Maybe this is a good fixture so they can start him. Or he comes off the bench in an easy fixture again. And then a DMP goalkeeper. And then my 270, which has the players with the higher L15s, will be a DMP. Well, not technically a DMP goalkeeper. Areola is in the France squad for the Euros. However, unlikely to be starting, so shouldn't expect much from him. So I do need these four guys to really deliver. Conor Gallagher, if he plays for England, should be a game England will win, although people expected England to be Iceland. However, I'm kind of hoping that was just a friendly. England weren't quite mentally fully prepared. Hoping for the Euros game one, they're fully turned on. If Gallagher's in the lineup, it should be a good fixture. Hoping England wins, so he'll be there. Andy Robertson, it's a tricky game against Germany. However, Germany, maybe as the hosts, maybe might take this game for granted. Also, Germany, there is a lot of unknown factors about this Germany team. They do have a relatively new manager. Excuse me. We're not fully certain about what the Germany team will be. Scotland, a little bit of confidence. If they're going to do anything, maybe Robertson is the attacking outlet on the left. So let's see what happens there. Duran, like I said earlier, building a bit of a reputation now at Colombia, building a reputation in general as kind of an upcoming wonder kid striker. So hoping he gets another chance in the fixture, which should be easy. They should be winning that game. And then I'm going to captain Kovacic in a big game against Spain. Spain, good team, but Croatia, as they've shown by beating Portugal in the last game, Croatia are no mugs. Croatia are going to be, good team. So I'm hoping, like against Portugal, they do well. And if they do, Kovacic is at the heart of that team. Going to give him the captain's armband in a big game. That'll be a really good game to watch. Spain v Croatia. So I'll be looking forward to watching that game. I'll be cheering on Kovacic extras more now that I've put him in my lineup and he's my captain. So let's see how it does. So I do have a lineup in the under 23s. That's just to build up XP. No one's playing. And I do have one really punty lineup in the actual European Championship section where you can win cash. This is the lineup I'm really expecting least from. Ramsdale won't be playing for England. Jared Bowen won't be playing for England. Maybe off the bench if England are winning by a lot of goals. Maybe he gets some minutes off the bench. João Palhinha, though, could be playing for Portugal. Pedro Neto could likely come off the bench for Portugal. And Cucurella maybe get some minutes for Spain. So this I'm not really expecting much from. This is the one I'm expecting really least from, but I'm putting it together just because I had 5 cards that are technically at the Euros. They're all technically playing, so they all fit this criteria. But this is basically a training squad. So those are my teams for the weekend coming up, people. Let me know if you've got any ideas, any other players that I should be scouting, any other players that, I've got my eye on. This is my remaining budget that I've got in mind before the Premier League season starts. I did mention earlier in the video the kind of players I'm looking at. So if you've got any ideas for Premier League goalkeeper, Premier League striker, or champion goalkeeper, champion striker, and then one challenger goalkeeper, they're the kind of players I'm looking at. Good luck with your weeks. If you're taking the Euros a little bit more seriously than me, good luck. I would advise you to jump on the Sorare Rivals Leagues for the Euros. It's going to make it a lot more fun. A lot of games for us to play there. Good luck, everyone. I'll see you next week. Peace.